Hello, my name is Kylie and welcome to Ancient History, the Ancient Egyptians Part 2. In this video, you will learn all about ancient Egyptian art, culture, and religion. Be sure to watch Part 1 of this series, the Ancient Egyptians Part 1, to learn a brief overview of their history. Are you ready to learn more about the ancient Egyptians? Let's go! The ancient Egyptians existed in the time period between circa 3100 BC to 30 BC. Remember, circa means about, because historians do not know the exact date. The ancient Egyptians were fascinating people. They lived in a time with no modern conveniences like electricity, computers, cars, or modern tools. Despite this, they were able to build amazing buildings, temples, and monuments that have lasted for over 2,000 years. Many historians and archaeologists who study ancient Egypt, called Egyptologists, are still trying to figure out how these amazing people were able to build such complex and huge objects without these modern tools. Many times, the first things people think about when they hear the word Egypt are the pyramids and the Sphinx at Giza. You can visit these unique and incredible structures today. It's really neat that you can visit something that exists from the past that is over 3,000 years old. The pyramids at Giza were built during the time of the pharaoh Khufu in circa 2500 BC. They were built as burial chambers or tombs. The largest of the three pyramids is referred to as the Great Pyramid. It took about 20 years to build and has 3 burial chambers inside. When it was first built, the Great Pyramid was almost 147 meters or 449 feet tall. This is about as tall as a 45-story building. However, the Great Pyramid isn't that high today. Did it shrink? Well, in a way, yes. Today, because of erosion, it is only about 139 meters tall. It is the oldest and largest pyramid ever built. Scientists estimate it to be built with over 2.3 million blocks of stone, all cut and put in place by hand. It is one of the 7 wonders of the world. Despite many other burial tombs having a lot of writing, the Great Pyramid has no writing of any kind on its walls. Another interesting fact about the Great Pyramid is that scientists can't figure out how to make the mortar or the stone glue that the ancient Egyptians used to set the stone in place. If you visit Egypt today, you can enter the Great Pyramid through the Robber's Tunnel. The Egyptian government charges an admission fee, and you must follow very special rules in order to enter. These rules are in place to protect the pyramids so that future generations can continue to enjoy and see and learn from them for years to come. The other 2 pyramids were built for 2 other pharaohs named Khafre and Menkaure. Khafre was the son of Khufu, and Menkaure is his son, or Khufu's grandson. Unfortunately, all 3 pyramids have been looted or robbed by thieves over the centuries. They also look very different from when they were first built. They are now missing their beautiful white limestone on the outside that covered it. The Sphinx is a very unique and instantly recognizable monument. A sphinx is a mythical creature in which the ancient Egyptians believed. It was a ferocious and mean creature with the head of a human and the body of a lion. Sometimes it is also drawn with wings. Because of their fearsome reputation, these creatures were often carved from stone or made of pottery and placed outside the entrances of important buildings in order to guard them. They were thought to make good guards and would keep bad spirits or bad people out of the building or temple. The Great Sphinx is a huge example of this. It stands near the Great Pyramids at Giza and is thought to be one of many built. Egyptologists aren't quite sure when it was built, but they think it may have been made in the same time of the pharaoh Khafre. The ancient Egyptians didn't just build large monuments and tombs. They were also known for their works of art, like jewelry. They are even thought of to have invented makeup. Ancient Egyptians were especially good at carving sculptures. They carved them out of different types of wood, stone, and clay. Some wooden statues were carved and covered on a thin coating of real gold paint in a process called gilding. Many sculptures were made to honor their many gods and goddesses, as well as honor and praise the pharaohs. One of the most famous of these sculptures is of the ancient Egyptian queen Nefertiti, who was thought to be very beautiful. Pottery was another important art form to the ancient Egyptians. Pottery was not only useful in everyday life to carry food and water, it was also used in religious ceremonies and in burial chambers. Canopic jars were special pottery made and decorated to store a pharaoh's organs after being made into a mummy. The discovery of gold during the time of the ancient Egyptians was very, very important. This allowed Egyptians to collect vast quantities of the metal. Gold was the perfect material to create beautiful Egyptian jewelry. In addition to gold, beads were made from all sorts of materials, including stone, shells, gemstones, glass, wood, and pottery. Also, lapis lazuli was a favorite stone among Egyptians. All social classes, from the poor to the very rich, wore some type of jewelry. Men and women both wore bracelets, earrings, collar pieces, necklaces, ankle bracelets, rings, and hair decorations. Statues were even made to wear jewelry, and mummies were given jewelry to wear as they believed the dead could take the jewelry with them into the afterlife. Many beautiful pieces of pottery, jewelry, and even old Egyptian toys can be seen today in museums, such as the British National Museum in London. In addition to jewelry, ancient Egyptian men and women wore makeup. Eyeliner, blushes, and lipstick were made from natural materials. Dye was made from plants, clay, ground up stone, and animal parts. Beauty was very important to the ancient Egyptians, and the more beautiful you could make yourself, the more religious and proper you would appear. Pharaohs especially made themselves up with a great deal of makeup to look as perfect as possible. Religion was a very important part of daily life in ancient Egypt. Many different gods were worshipped. There were times, however, when a particular pharaoh would make a rule that he or she was to be the god to be worshipped. But mostly, gods with specific rule over a part of nature were worshipped. For example, Tefnet was the lunar or moon goddess of moisture, humidity, and water. They built temples for specific gods, and offerings of food and other goods were brought to make the god or goddess happy. You've just taken a very exciting journey through some of ancient Egypt's most fascinating monuments and learned about their culture and history. If you haven't already, be sure to watch the first video in this series. Use our fun online games and quizzes to practice what you've learned. And remember to always be clever.
Hey!